Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite Series, the Avengers Age of Ultron 6-inch Iron Man Mark 43. Here's a look at the packaging. Alright my friends, so as you can see the packaging is essentially the same sort of packaging that Hasbro has been using for the last year or so for their Marvel Legends lineup. This Iron Man figure is a 100% repaint of the Marvel Legends Iron Man 3 Mark 42. As was the case with the Mark 42, this figure maintains a very, very nice sculpt. All the little details in the armor you would expect are present. The paint on this guy is also really nicely done. I really like the nice, vibrant, metallic shade of red that they use this guy. It's almost like a candy apple red kind of color, as well as the more subdued golds that are present around the armor. And unlike with the Mark 42 figure, this one actually does come with one single accessory that we will look at in just a moment. But first, let me give you a close-up at Iron Man. As you can see, it looks very, very much like Iron Man. There's no doubting that here. I think the Mark 42 sculpt was very, very nice and probably the best one that Hasbro has come out with so far. So it's not too bad that they actually took that figure and repainted it. If you look at production photos from the film, the new Mark 43 armor actually looks identical, except for the paint. So, why not go ahead and repaint, such a magnificent figure from before? And that's exactly what Hasbro did here. So, really nice. Of course, the differences here are going to be the paint. They basically did away with a lot of the gold and replaced it with red, which looks to be accurate to the film. So, quite nice. But, just looking at the sculpt of this guy, his armor, it's very nicely done. I think the proportions are pretty good. But looking at the rest of the armor, there's no doubting that it looks very, very nice. All of the little details are there. Nice blending of the coloring, balancing out the reds and the golds, and there's even some silver in there. Very nice. And unlike with the Mark 42, Hasbro does look to have painted the shoulders of this guy right there. So you can see they are, it looks to be like a pewter color. And, that seems to carry through to the other details here. It looks like that's actually the same color, quite possibly. You get the eyes, which are a shade of blue, as well as the arc reactor, which is also blue. I'm not so sure that shouldn't actually be white. Same with the eyes, but don't quote me on that. I just don't know that they should be blue. But again, I haven't seen the film yet. I don't think very many people have. It does look like there's a lot of red on the back. And if Hasbro was simply following the design from the Avengers Age of Ultron, then I can't fault them for that. But it does look like there's a little bit too much red. I would have liked to have seen some more, gold maybe here in the midsection or upper legs or somewhere. It looks really nice and balanced from the front. But the back just looks like it has too much red. And, that just could be the way it is in the movie. Mine does seem to have a little mark right there on his cheek where he looks to be missing some paint. In the way of articulation, Iron Man has a ball joint here at the head. And underneath that, he has a bend, which allows him to look down and up. Not a whole lot. And this is one thing that I hope Hasbro continues to look at for their upcoming Iron Man figures that I imagine they'll be putting out in the future. It goes up and down a little bit, but it doesn't go up enough. I really want to recreate the flight pose from the movie, so, why not make him have the ability to do that? How cool would that be? But in any case, it seems to be a pretty solid joint. It gets an okay amount of movement. He does have these little flaps here, and they are separate pieces, but it does look like they are attached out here to the upper shoulder, which is good because it prevents them from falling off too easily, and it seems like they're on there pretty well. He's got ball joints underneath those armor bits there at the shoulders. He's got swivels at the biceps, double bends at the elbows, hinges at both of his wrists. Now please note that because of the way that the wrist is sculpted, it's not going to really go up, it's just going to go down, and that's the same for both hands. He's got a ball joint at the torso. He has hinges at his hips, and you get a pretty nice range of movement with those. Swivels at the thighs. He's got double bends at the knees. And then he's got hinging at his ankles, which also have rocker swivels. In the way of accessories, Iron Man Mark 43 comes with a Tony Stark head with the helmet propped open just a little bit. Now, I'm really happy that Hasbro included this because for the last several Iron Man figures, this was not present. And it's kind of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you include something like this? So it's really cool that they did. But that being said, it's just an okay piece. I mean, if you look at the face, I don't think it looks all that much like Robert Downey Jr. I mean, if anything, I would say, this is passable, but it's not a dead ringer for him by any means. I mean, it generally looks like him, but it's not perfect. The eyes might be a little bit too small and spread apart, but I mean, it looks okay. Again, it is nicer to have an inferior accessory than no accessory at all, so I think in that regard, it's pretty good, and I'm really glad that they included it in here. Doesn't really do anything. You can't fold the face plate down or anything, but it's you can put it on his head quite easily, or on his neck rather. What you want to do is just take your figure and just kind of pull it. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort, and then you get your ball joint under there, and then just replace it with the Tony Stark head. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Again, it's not perfect, but it's definitely nice that this was included because this has been something that I've really been wanting for a long time now, and the past few Iron Mans have not had this accessory at all. Alright, you guys, so here is a comparison of the Marvel Legends Mark 42 Iron Man from Iron Man 3 and the Marvel Legends Iron Man Mark 43 armor from the Avengers Age of Ultron. So like I said, completely 100% the same sculpt, but with a new paint scheme. There's significantly less gold on the Mark 43 Iron Man compared with the Mark 42 Iron Man. And I think they both look very, very nice in their own way. I'm not so sure that I have a preference for either look. I have seen the Mark 42 armor at Disneyland, and it looks very beautiful in person. But this new one looks really nice too. I really like the Mark 43 look. I like that it has a little bit more red, and the color of red they used is really nice. In fact, for both figures, it looks like the shade of red they used is very, very, very close, if not completely the same. The golds are also very, very similar. If anything, I might say that the Mark 43, his shade of gold is maybe just a little bit deeper in tone. Some nice details that weren't present on the Mark 42, however, like I mentioned, were the gray bits that they added underneath the shoulders there, that the other one does not have, either because they weren't in the film or because, Hasbro didn't want to do them. The shade of the eyes and the arc reactor on 42 are a little bit lighter in color, and in my view, a little bit more accurate. But, again, I haven't seen Age of Ultron yet, so... it's kind of hard to say whether or not this deeper blue look is accurate. Another detail that they missed on the first version of this figure, the 42, was they didn't paint the little circle there in his hand that, of course, he uses to fire blasts. On the 43, that little circle is painted blue to match the other coloring bits of the figure. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of red going on the back of the Mark 43. Whereas on the back of the 42, the red versus gold looks a little bit more balanced. Most likely this is just due to the way they designed the suits for the movies. I would have personally liked a little bit more gold here, but hey, if Hasbro's following what the designs from the film look like, that's the most important thing. And in case you are wondering, you can in fact place the unmasked Tony Stark head on the Mark 42 body. The only other item that comes in this package is the Build-A-Figure component that comes with many Marvel Legends waves, is going to be this right here. This is Thanos' left leg. If you get all the parts from all 6 figures in this wave, you can build you a Thanos figure. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinite Series, the Avengers Age of Ultron Iron Man Mark 43. All in all, this is a very, very nicely done figure. I am very pleased with it. I think this is a very worthy addition to your Iron Man and Avengers collection. The paintwork here is very stellar, really pretty shades of red and gold. And the articulation, I think, is quite impeccable on this particular release. The swappable head accessory is a very nice addition that has been a long time coming. So all things considered here, I really do recommend this figure, especially if you're an Iron Man fan, especially if you're an Avengers fan. And if you just appreciate a very nicely done quality figure, then I think you're going to like this too. Very, very nicely done Iron Man figure, and perhaps my favorite Iron Man figure in my collection. Stay tuned because we do have our review of the Avengers Age of Ultron Hulk coming soon. Thanks for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.